Julie, over to you.
Okay, we're recording.
This meeting is being recorded and or transcribed.
All right. Good morning and welcome to the Municipal Accountability Review Board meeting for today, Wednesday, October 6th. And thank you to all who joined today. We have a modest agenda before us. But before I begin, I want to ask my co-chair, Assistant Treasurer Christine Shaw, on behalf of Treasurer Wooden, if she has any opening remarks.
I do not. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Excellent. The first item for business today, due to some calendaring constraints, I am requesting a motion to move West Haven to item 4, so that be followed by Hartford and then Sprague.
So moved.
Second. Great, it's been moved and seconded, and we formally need to concur, ensure that everyone is in agreement. So Julie, can you just quickly get a roll call?
Sure. Mr. Felsigo?
Yes.
Mr. Brockman?
Yeah.
Ms. Shaw?
Yes.
Secretary McCaw?
Yes.
Michael, you may need to mute your...
Mr. White, are you in? We are voting on a motion to amend the agenda to move West Haven ahead in the order of towns. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
And are there any of the members of the board that I did not just mention that have joined the meeting? Okay, thank you.
All right, excellent. Our meeting timing and agenda order has been changed. All right, next up would be the approval of minutes for September 23rd, 2021, which is a special meeting. Is there a motion, please?
So moved. Seconded.
Any discussion? Great. Julian?
Mr. White?
Yes.
Mr. Felsigno?
Yes.
Mr. Brockman?
Yes.
Ms. Shaw?
Yes.
Secretary McCullough?
Yes.
Are there any other board members that have joined that I did not mention? And that's everybody.
Great, excellent. We're going to open it up to our public comment period. Members of the public, if you would like to have an opportunity to speak, you can unmute yourself. Please do identify yourself and your city or town of affiliation, and please limit your comments to 2 minutes. Is there anyone that cares to participate in our public comment period this morning? One more call for public comment? All right, seeing none, we will move on to the City of West Haven. Our first item is a subcommittee update. I do want to begin, before we jump into the subcommittee update, to provide you with an update pertaining to the concerns that were expressed in public comment, as well as correspondence received by the Office of Policy Management concerning the use of coronavirus relief funds by the City of West Haven. As I reported last month, there was an inquiry to the Connecticut Attorney General's office concerning certain expenditures, which was referred to the Auditors of Public Accounts, which was referred to the Office of Policy Management pertaining to municipal CRF funds. As you are aware, the city received funding to support COVID response. All 169 municipalities did, and the compliance with the Treasury eligibility requirements is a part of our closing out of the grant and audit process. However, due to the concerns that have been raised in the correspondence received by the Office of Policy Management We will be conducting a more comprehensive audit. We will be utilizing outside financial consultants to do so. And so we wanted to make you aware that a letter will go to Mayor Roxy and her team today from Undersecretary Martin Happ to advise of that and to begin that process. I have every expectation that the mayor and her team will be cooperative and collaborative as they've been up to this point, and we look forward to concluding that and reporting back at a later time. With that, unless there are any questions pertaining to this matter, we'll move right on to the subcommittee update. Very good. The written subcommittee update is in your meeting materials. We did have a meeting on, I believe it was September 23rd. The items that were discussed were a planned bond issuance of $20.5 million to support the West Haven High School project and fiscal 21 capital project. We also spent some time discussing the status of the city's compliance with the fiscal 21 memorandum of agreement. And as I noted last month, there are a number of items that are still open, and compliance is a requirement in order to receive restructuring funds. I did send a letter out advising the city to please prepare plans for addressing the items that are due to the board, and that would be provided to the subcommittee. The city did provide a summary document of the status of the MOA requirements. That's included in your package. We did receive an update from the city following the subcommittee meeting, and this will be the subject of the next subcommittee meeting. For the board, before OPM makes a determination regarding the distribution of municipal restructuring funds, you are required to provide input and comments to me. So we're going to allow the city to give the update on what they've done to meet the compliance terms. We will bring that update back to the full board so that you can weigh in on the distribution of funds. And finally, the last financial update for fiscal 21, the city indicated they needed at least around $2.5 million of restructuring funds to avoid a deficit for this year. And obviously we want to ensure that that no deficit materializes. So with that, I will pause and open it up for any questions or discussion on the subcommittee update. And Julie and Tim, feel free to jump in if there's anything I missed. All right, more to come on how we're handling the meeting restructuring funds. Next would be review and discussion of the monthly financial report for August 2021. We'll turn it over to Mayor Roxy, Frank, and the team.
Great. Good morning, everyone. So you have received the financial report for year-to-date August. Things are progressing as expected. Revenue.
You're probably on mute.
Oh. Can you hear me now?
You are no longer muted.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, Frank.
Okay, thank you. So, you should have received the financial report. Revenues are in line with prior years. We're at 33% of expected annual revenues compared to 32.7 and 32 in the prior years. So at this point, no issues around the revenues that we're seeing. We are seeing some of the building permits are not as strong as we were last year. Permits themselves are volatile. With timing, they don't come in at the same rates each year. We are expecting to see an increase as projects are progressing. So we should see some increases in that line item. From a cost side, everything seems to be in line. We're at roughly 22% of where we're expected to be for the full year compared to 21 last year and 23 in fiscal 20. There are some timing issues when it comes to some of the departments. For example, in the ERS department, you'll see that we are at roughly 20% of the full year compared to 12% last year. That is because of the Motorola contract that we signed last year. That annual amount was paid in July, so that's skewing the timing around that. As well as in the controller's office, we're getting billed monthly for the auditors as opposed to quarterly in the past, so we're seeing some timing issues around that as well. One of the things I'm looking into is we want to do a better job of getting a handle around overtime. And so I'm trying to put together some predictive algorithms around prior year timings on where we are now, so we can get ahead of that. Public Works had some significant overruns last year when it came to overtime. A lot of that was pandemic driven, but to the extent that we can get a handle on that early, we'll be able to put some things in place to try to mitigate that. From I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get my bearings here. So the sewer department is in line as well. I'm not seeing anything that is causing any reason for concern at this point. Allentown Fire Department as well. They have ordered their pumper. Payment for that will come out of their fund balance since it was a line item in last year's budget. The unspent balance of that line item flowed into their fund balance, so we will be using that this year to pay for their portion of that vehicle. With that, I will answer any questions that the board may have.
Frank, do you have any updates with respect to fiscal year 2021? And for the board and the public purpose, just for the record, fiscal 22 does not have any reliance on municipal restructuring funds, correct?
That is correct. So 22 does not have any restructuring funds in it. Fiscal 21, we're still looking at roughly $1 million surplus. Most of the bills have come through. I believe most of the, if not all of the health costs and service funds have been reconciled, so those are into the model now. So again, as of right now, we're looking at roughly $1 million of surplus, given the $4 million of restructuring funds. I'm sorry, $1 million, it's actually more than that. It's $1.5 million, I believe, is what we're looking at.
Yeah, last month you had reported 1.48.
Yep, so we're looking at 1.3 to 1.5 at this point. And that number continues to go up as we've been pleasantly surprised with where the healthcare landed, as well as the workers' comp and heart and hypertension numbers. So I am going to pull down their latest numbers either today or tomorrow, and I can provide an updated expectation for fiscal 21. I know they were working on it yesterday.
Absolutely. Frank, you're carrying about $1.5 million for contingency in fiscal 22?
That is correct. And that includes an intentional fund balance increase.
Very good. And you're right around 3% for fund balance relative to your annual expenditures?
That's correct.
Other questions or discussion pertaining to the monthly financial report? Obviously, you're early in the fiscal year, but things are looking good. Any other questions? All right.
If all the members of, sorry, you can go first. No, I just had a quick question about the sewer revenues, Frank. It looked like year over the on a percentage basis, the percentage collected compared to the prior years did look like it's a few percentage points down, which, given that the charges for services is pretty much the only revenue sources.
Yep.
Do you expect that to have any impact on, for the rest of the year, or your projection for the full year? I know you carry a pretty large contingency in the sewer fund, but
Yeah,
I was just wondering if you had picked up on anything driving that.
we haven't seen anything yet. As far as I know, the tax collections are there. I'll have to dig into that to see when we received the payments from Orange last year for their portion of the sewer. It could be a timing issue, but I will definitely look into that for you once I can get connected.
Okay.
Kim, did you have one?
I did. A couple of questions, Frank. One, I noticed in your financials and the expenditure lines, and actually in some of your revenue lines, you have opposite revenue, which is a deficit versus a revenue recording. Is that reversals of prior year impact that needs to be cleaned up?
I believe so. We've been trying to get everything cleaned up for the audit.
Okay. All right, I'll hold tight on
Yeah.
that. Also, for the Board of Ed, I know that, I believe last time, and I know Matt is on the line today, that our numbers for the Board of Ed year-end numbers haven't changed, and I know that they were looking to accrual, complete some accruals that weren't ready within the payroll system, and some benefits were not finalized from the last time that we met. I'm just wondering where we stand in those categories.
Hi, Jim. Yes, all payroll has been approved through the agency system. That's all set, and our benefits are completed as well.
Are the benefits completed with the city?
I believe,
Year-end?
yes, I believe they are.
So Matt, you're not moving off of the number that you had provided from the last month?
No, the 140 some odd thousand still holds true.
Okay.
Any other questions on West Haven's August 2021 financial report? Okay, excellent. Thank you so much, Mayor and your team. We'll see you soon, and we will move on to the City of Hartford.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Very much.
Thank you for the switch.
Click off the microphone.